Moving on to an actual political contest, the Democratic side. New Monmouth poll out today has Bernard Sanders in the number one spot for the first time in any national poll, or basically tied with Warren, but up more than Warren per the last one. What is? I know it's exciting to think about. Our boy in the number one spot, sitting in the catbird seat. But what is the correct way of thinking about polls of a Democratic primary at this point?
Well, certainly when you're talking about a national poll, which is pointless for the very simple reason that there is not a national vote in the primary. There's only specific states at specific times, and all those polls are going to be shaped by the results in the states that came before them. So the very premise of a national primary poll is already kind of absurd. And then you have the fact that you're 6 months out of the election and how most of it is name recognition. It really is not anything to put any stock into, which means that when there's a bad one for Bernie, and there have been a number of very bad ones, those are the ones that,
from Monmouth themselves.
The bad news is it doesn't matter. The good news is it doesn't matter.
Exactly, because like Axelrod was trying to own Bernie by saying, "Oh, you're going down."
Yeah, Bernie's going to win no matter what the polls say.
So yeah, just things like that are nice for a moment's frisson, but they don't mean anything.
But then if you look at state polls of Iowa and New Hampshire, I think Bernie is currently leading in New Hampshire and very close in Iowa, or like within 5 or 6 points of Biden in Iowa. And I think taken, in aggregate, if you look at like all of them, did you see the thing where Sanders went on David Axelrod's show this weekend?
Yes.
And Axelrod tried to get slick with him and talk about the polls. And he was like, now, in the polls, you're holding steady at third or fourth. And he was just like, nope. Let me stop you there.
I got a poll right here for you.
He did. He pulled polls out of his jacket, and it was just like, I have the receipts.
He whipped it out.
I have the receipts right here, sis. You will be sipping on that. No, and like Axelrod isn't the only one who does it. Like the way they talk about the media, like they always describe Bernie as just sort of like third or fourth, but like almost every single poll shows him holding steady at number 2 under Biden, the guy who's currently, his brain is leaking out of his ears. He can't even he confused New Hampshire with Vermont the other day, which that doesn't matter. The people in New Hampshire don't care about being confused with other
that one is really amazing because it's the new fucking Hampshire primary. The only reason any politician spends any time in fucking New England is because of one thing, the New Hampshire fucking primary. The only primary in New England of any consequence. And this motherfucker's calling it Vermont.
The other interesting thing about this same poll is like, as you said, like a national poll, it's not too ominous. Like just don't put too much stock one way or the other in it at this point. However, like the tabs or whatever about like who likes who is very interesting, because it cuts against the media's favorite narrative about Bernie Sanders. Just really simply, among white voters, Warren is at 27%, Biden at 18%, tied with Sanders at 18%. Among non-white voters or voters of color, Sanders is leading at 22%, Biden is at 19%, and Warren is at 14%. And then if you look at voters who are between 18 and 49, Sanders blows away the rest of them, and Biden is polling at 5% among voters under the age of 50. So very interesting. I mean, again, you can't project who's going to win or not based on that, but what you can do is form a semi-accurate, portrayal of who these people's bases and support are coming from.
I want to get back to just something you were just saying about the media's like glossing over the Bernie campaign. Because just on the way over here, I saw something from like, I don't know, Newsweek or something that was like, Joe Biden has the popularity, Warren has the plans, the Democratic primary is narrowing down to its top leads.
No, this is what they do though. Is like they either like everyone acknowledges that Biden is leading in the polls, but they are trying so hard to make it seem like Warren is nipping at his heels and as number 2. Biden, Warren or Harris, and that is not the case. It is Bernie solidly at number 2. Everyone else under.
They're trying to gaslight Bernie, but they can't because he is a strong woman. He knows the truth,
and just as you guys did the dipstick into Trump's brain, last episode, I feel like partially my role is doing the dipstick into the Pod Save brain, which is like my view into liberal mindset. And the thing that I have been noticing most recently is the hilarious extent to which they casually don't mention Bernie. It's like they'll say stuff like, we have a great tier of candidates. All the front runners are great. Biden, great. Warren, great. Kamala, great. Beto, great, and like list everyone and just not mention Bernie.
Yeah.
Or be like, who's got the ground game in Iowa, Tommy? And Tommy's like, oh, well, Warren is obviously running a phenomenal campaign, and I hear Harris is ramping up a lot, and Booker actually is building her campaign.
Yeah, that's funny because I just heard in Iowa that Bernie has more volunteers than basically every other campaign put together in that state.
And just a little subtle no mention. And I honestly don't want to attribute maliciousness. I just think that they don't even think about him as a real force or a Democratic presence in the Democratic
I think it's somewhere
campaign.
in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's that they are incredibly repressed.
Yes.
Like, they are repressing it so hard.
Yes. That's what I mean. I don't think it's intentional.
Yeah. In their, secret lockbox in their brain, they know, but they try not to look at the secret lockbox in their brain.
I do also want to bring up a great unintentional gag that I tweeted about last week that was Tommy referring to Bernie's stump speech as old. He's been playing the same hits forever. He's got to get some new material. Like, you wouldn't want to go to a Chance the Rapper show and have him play just all of acid rap, would you? Ugh. And the unintentional hilariousness of that is that the Chance's new album is largely considered vastly inferior to his old material. But even more stupidly, Bernie's been rolling out hit after hit after hit over the last 2 weeks. The criminal justice plan, his fleshed out Green New Deal plan. His campaign seems like it's been on fire.
Whenever you go to see
any artist
and they only play new material, you're furious.
Yeah.
You're fucking furious.
Yeah, and also when you go to see Chance the Rapper perform, I'm also furious.
I like that No Problem With Me song.